Born and raised in Vancouver. I pursued acting at university in Montreal. Came back here and was 27 when I heard about ESP. DOS was a group that I was recruited into by who has become one of my closest friends in the company, and somebody who I went to for all of my issues or things that I wanted to work through. She was like my therapist, for the lack of it. We didn't use that word in ESP, but she was the person I went to if I was struggling with something. First, she told me it was a women's group, an international women's group, a secret society similar to the Freemasons that would be totally underground, and a group of women working together to be a force for good in the world. Taught us a lot of wonderful things, and I gained a lot, but insidiously within those truths were a number of other indoctrinations which I now no longer agree with. That women are weak, we have no character, men have all the character, we need to learn character, we have no discipline, we're emotional, which is true, and that emotion drives us and takes us off our track when we're committed to something. That's why we bail on things, we're flaky. So women have to learn how to humiliate themselves, each other. And that's what DOS was. First step was a vow of obedience to. And I said, obedience for what? Like, you're gonna get me to rob a bank? And she said, no, of course not. This is for you and your growth. And this is all for you to really commit. And she's like, it's more like a heightened coaching relationship, Sarah. It's like, I'm your mentor, but except you call me master and you're my slave. And the final step was what she said and explained to me would be a tattoo. And it was the most, she said, getting her tattoo was the most profound experience of her life. The tattoo was something I was very not okay with. And she said to me she'd work through my issues around it, even though I didn't like it. And I trusted her that I somehow needed this. And I went along with it. March 9th, I flew into Albany early. I got my childcare taken care of. I showed up at the house at around 4 o'clock. And I think I was the first one. And she brought me up to her guest bedroom where I'd stayed before. I was familiar with her home, and she told me to take off all my clothes and put on a blindfold. I sat there for about 20 minutes, scared, excited, weirded out. Something was going to happen, I didn't know what. Other women were brought into the different rooms. We didn't know who the other women in our team were. This was her way of introducing us. And she brought us all down individually, blindfolded and naked, sat us in a semicircle on a sheepskin rug with candles in her foyer living room area, and then told us to take off the blindfold. And I looked around at my friends from ESP seeing buck naked for the first time in home. And all of us going, oh my God, what are we doing? And we were brought into the guest room, asked to take off her clothes again. And she drew a stencil on our body of a symbol, which told me was a sign for the 4 elements. There's a line, that's the horizon, this little squiggle's the water, this is the mountain. She lied to me. I found out later what the symbol meant, and that the symbol was a combination of 2 people's initials. It was the first person I was kneeling on her legs with another friend of mine who is also out since then and may also be willing to talk to you. And we were looking at each other. We had, at the beginning, we had masks on, like surgical masks, because the smell of flesh was so strong, and like burnt flesh. And we looked at each other, and I remember looking at her, and we were both weeping. It was like, this is something out of a horror movie. And we were shaking, and the woman on the table, I'll leave her anonymous for her sake, even though she's still in and thinks it's great. She was squealing like a pig. She was squealing like an animal being branded. And we were in shock. I think my shock started there. And I had pull me aside and say, you gotta do better than this. And I made a commitment at that point. I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it because I said I was gonna do it, even though everything in my body said, get out of here.